Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, featuring sysadmin expert Don Pizzette, DevOps engineer Justin Dennison, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, and I don't say this lightly, but I feel like this is the kind of episode that's going to change lives. For the better. For the better.
Yeah, we change something every time.
Yeah. I mean, it might be our own when
Peter.
they're like, "Hey, so Justin,
You've been indicted.
yeah, you've got a summons."
This is going to be a career-changing
You've been
episode.
served.
You're familiar with the term hate speech. I've done it.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's Justin we're talking about.
That's not no big old pile of hate.
So we've got
Emanating.
a lot of good news today. We're going to talk about an old classic that's coming back, and we're also joined by a special guest. We have Cody Cornell on the line, who is the CEO of Swimlane. How you doing, Cody?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Where are you joining us from today, actually?
I am in Louisville, Colorado.
Louisville, Colorado.
So
Is
if
it
you're not
cold
familiar
there?
with the area, somewhere between Denver and Boulder is generally how it's described.
Okay.
For the viewers at home, they couldn't see him air quoting Louisville, Colorado.
Yeah. I was not familiar with
What's
the area.
what's
That
the
sounds
temperature
lovely.
there?
We're probably in the high 30s, low 40s. It's a nice day. No snow. It's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what you describe as a nice day.
No
You guys
snow.
hiring at all?
No snow here.
It's
as
7,000 degrees here.
well. That's just in the studio.
Yeah.
Outside, it's cold for
It's
Florida.
like 65,000 degrees.
Yeah, outside. It's like
Yeah. Humidity is only 90% today. It's nice. It's a nice day. Hey, let's go ahead and get to know Cody a little bit better in our first segment, Rapid Fire Questions.
Who do you work for?
What's new?
Who are you?
What's happening?
What's wrong with you?
Perfect. All right, Cody, I'm going to start out with the first question, and it's an easy one, a softball here. Can you just give us a little bit of a background about Swimlane, kind of like the elevator pitch? Tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, everyday organizations are struggling with the people component of security. So how do I actually respond to all the alerts, respond to all the notifications, keep up with all the intelligence information that's flowing at me? And quite frankly, folks have realized that even with huge budgets for staff, there's not enough people to actually keep up with that level of work. So folks are obviously looking to automation to be a force multiplier for staff and, make them a lot more effective and allow them to do a lot more work in a given day. And it's also, as a former analyst myself, allows me to do a lot more fulfilling work as opposed to a lot of the hand cramming and, manual work that you typically have to do as a security analyst.
And people always do seem to be the problem.
We talk about that all the time.
We make the joke all the time, like, man, this looks like it's broke. It's just we can't fix it. What's the solution here? And I'm like, hold on. Are people involved?
Yeah.
There you go.
I've isolated the problem.
So you said something about automated notifications. What about any type of responses or actions that are taking? Are those automated as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at the core of the product, we integrate with hundreds of different technologies. So, yeah, the ability to take action and third-party systems is obviously core to what we do. So, as an analyst, I don't want to have to create a ticket. If I see something, I don't want to have to send out an email notification. I don't want to have to add an IOC to an ACL on my network or my perimeter. I want that to happen automatically based on some of the other work that's happening inside of the environment or based on some other information that's available. So yeah, that's really the goal there, is to have those thousands and thousands of things a day actually, happen for me automatically.
So you mentioned that you worked in the IT security industry. What made you decide to jump out and kind of go out on your own, try your own product, create a startup like this? Was there no one else provides anything of this nature?
At the time, there was limited options. So, I'd spent 15 years building security ops teams, right? So policy and procedure, staffing up teams, deploying technologies, be it SIM or endpoint or whatever they might be. And just myself struggled immensely with, keeping up with all the work that was coming down, be it audit support or vulnerability scans or just the new intelligence that was hitting our desks every day. Tried to build it out as some of the existing products that were out there, maybe a ticketing system or some type of collaboration suite. But at the end of the day, it was those integrations in the third-party systems and that ability to kind of customize them to what a security ops team's needs on a day-to-day basis was really important for us. So that's, there was nothing really available at the time. So we really started building it to solve for our own problem, and obviously realized we weren't alone in that struggle.
Now, Cody, you work with large organizations and governments as well. But how do the threats that they encounter differ from maybe like a smaller corporation?
I don't know if the threats are different. I think that the risks are commensurate with the size of the organization. They have a lot of the same technologies. I think one of the big differences is as you move down market, there's a lot more SaaS-based technology that you're protecting versus, probably hosted or data center type infrastructure. So I think the threats are a little bit different. Threats are associated with data loss, associated with, can I get access to your Salesforce infrastructure, your CRM, as opposed to something that's probably a SAP deployment that's living inside of your data center. So I think that the impacts can be, commensurate with the size. I just think the types of technologies that people are using, depending on the size of the organization, is very different. As you can move down market, obviously SaaS-based products are a lot more common.
So my last question here, are you calling us from an IKEA? It looks it's nice and minimalist.
This is take all the piles of stuff that's usually sitting behind me on that sidebar there and move them all. If you can see over here, I have a small liquor collection, a pile of books, all the things you would typically see there. But the team decided it was probably me not to leave all that in behind here. So
I was going to comment earlier that it is literally the cleanest office of anyone we've ever interviewed.
Yeah. If there was a mirror back there, though, it sounds like
over here is a pile of my coping mechanisms with all the stress.
Yeah, and this is Colorado, so there's additional coping.
What
mechanisms.
is this? It looks like a no.
Yeah, that's a lovely vase.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got a weird opening on the side.
It's an oboe. All right. Well, thank you, and also thank you for your service. I understand you were active duty for a while.
Yeah.
Did that?
I spent 5 years in the Coast Guard. I have good friends that are Marines and in the Army. So I was in the service, but not in the same capacity those folks that go into combat. So thank you.
Battling drug dealers in the high seas. That's frightening. They're scary people, and they've got submarines now.
Justin knows all about it.
Yep.
Like they shoot them guns.
I'll tell you what.
But seriously, we got to wrap this up pretty soon. I got to go meet a guy.
If you're going to do Coast Guard, though, Colorado's the place to do it.
Yeah. It's just mountains. We got those mountain boats.
Hey, Lake Trinidad's pretty big.
No, every day you're guarding to make sure the coast doesn't come.
Yeah.
Up to Colorado.
That's a good point.
I think that's what they're doing. All right, let's get to our big story of the week right now.
And now, the news.
All right, this one is from TheVerge.com. Motorola's foldable Razr will launch on February 6th after delay. Pre-orders start on January 26th. And this is not a 20-year-old article. We're talking about the Razr, but it is back in a big way. So first of all, any of you guys have a Razr back in the day?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You did?
My dad had one. I never had one.
Dad?
I bought one the day it came out.
You were in line?
I didn't have to wait in line, oddly enough.
A different time.
I just walked into the store and I paid $450 for it, which was the most I had paid for a phone ever at that point. And now I laugh at that.
Did we just hear Don say, "I'm better than you"? That's kind of what I just heard. He's like, "I have more money than all of you."
Cody, did you have a Razr?
I wanted one, but I couldn't bring myself to drop the $400, so I bought one of those really ugly phones that look like a candy bar. So that was my go-to.
We weren't all born with the silver spoon in our mouths like Don over here. But
well, I could make it worse and tell you why I bought it, because I was going to France, and
I had to be bougie like everybody else.
And it was one of the only phones. It was easy to swap a card out back then, so I could use it overseas. So
he had to buy two, one for his butler.
Yeah.
So he could stay at contact.
For old Chester, so he could follow him around.
His name was Reginald. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Chester's his middle name.
Well, what's interesting on this guy is it's a foldable screen. So when you open it up, it looks basically like any other Android phone. And I've watched the video on this Verge article because the reporter got his hands on it, and it's like a 5-minute video where he's testing all different ways, and it looks good compared to the other Fold. Because I know
it takes a whole lot more time to crack that screen.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I'd rather have two phones bolted together with a gate hinge.
I like that idea too. But Don, you were saying you were worried about like 1 grain of sand, right?
Well, yeah, like because you can't put a screen protector on something that's folding, and then if you get 1 grain of sand in there, it's not going to scratch just one screen. It's going to scratch both of them. And did you see? I don't think it was The Verge. I think it was Vice or somebody that put out an article. They dug through the help documentation from Motorola, and they mentioned, by the way, if bumps or swelling appear in the glass, that's okay. That's just a feature.
It's a feature.
Don't worry about it.
It's for those tactile users of ours.
Your phone has leprosy.
Like, I love this bumpy phone. I love
Stuff a Benadryl in the USB port.
Yeah. So this is still not primetime technology, in my opinion. And the price, did you guys see the price?
$1,400 or something like that.
What?
I would say that's primetime technology at that price.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
Don's going to buy 2 next week.
Well, sure.
He's like, I got one for each hand.
Got a trip to the Maldives coming up.
Just calls himself.
He's like, hello, beautiful. What's up? These phones are foldy.
So I take it no one in this room is considering it.
Hell no.
no.
Cody?
Not happening.
No, not on my radar right now.
As you get older, you learn that that's dumb.
So look next week for our update article on this being recalled and pre-orders being canceled. What was the phone? It was Samsung that had the phone where they
Galaxy Fold.
they actually canceled the.
That whole program folded, right? So yeah,
Oh, nice.
I know,
I see
good
what you
one
did
there.
Justin, you're still using beepers, right?
I got to find a rim shot.
Yeah. Hold on.
Let me get the rim shot. Go ahead.
I got it.
I'm making a meet a guy.
There we go. There's the rim shot. Sorry.
We
sorry
wrap
about
this up.
that. If you need to run out, the submarine.
No, we're good. We're good. That's how them phones got here on that submarine.
Yeah.
That's why they got delayed. Coast Guard diverted us.
Yeah. Coast Guard again.
Every time.
Yeah.
You know what makes me happy?
No.
That Cody's finding this funny.
We've entertained one.
He's like, I remember shooting at Justin.
I like how I've become like this shifty drug dealer.
Yeah. Well, you're the guy in this. They don't shoot at this end. Once they get in our waters, you're good. I think. That's,
they
that's
made
the
it.
rule. If they made it within 12 miles, you have to let
Now
them
you're
go.
just a normal drug dealer.
Yeah.
Is
I've
that
read that.
That's
No.
not actually a rule, is it?
Please.
They will light you up.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some angry phone calls in 20 years.
And that's Peter Van Rysdale.
Maybe
At
down.
itpro.tv.
Hey, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We've got a lot more news to get to. I got the top 5 articles of the week, so we'll do that right after this on Technado with Don Pezet.
I'm James Packer. I'm the General Manager of Kirk ISS based in the Cayman Islands. We look after IT for banks, governments and various other organisations around the Caribbean. IT Pro TV for me first was a personal subscription. Used it for a little while, started to like it, then found out there was a business version. I started off with a small team there of about 20 staff. By the time I finished, I had 110 engineers in the field and we had dozens of IT Pro accounts with the guys training, and last year alone they passed over 40 certs by using the online training. One thing I can say that, I can't say for any others is IT Pro TV, I've seen it make people pass exams, help them with the virtual labs, the practice tests, and the ability to check your team are actually doing it. So it helps you to make sure you're getting return on your investment. One thing I particularly like about it, it lets you know how many times they've taken the test and whether they failed or not. I can watch even if they're downloading, so even if they're watching offline, I know they've had a go at it. I built this structure whereas each time they passed an exam, they would get extra money within their salary. But it would also work invertly. If they didn't work towards it, they would lose their training account to go to another member of staff who wanted to do well for themselves and the company. Because in technology, everybody knows if you were to take an 18-month break, you'd be so far behind, it'd be incredible. I particularly enjoyed the fact with IT Pro TV, it was easy to use. I could download it, I could listen to it in the car, I could watch it on the train, I didn't have to be connected to watch. And if I was watching it across multiple devices, like my Apple TV in the house, I could see where I was and carry on watching it on my laptop. My current job, running a company in Grand Cayman, I never went for. They saw that I'd added the Azure and the Office 365 cert onto my LinkedIn and headhunted me and asked me to move out and help them out. I think I can safely say without IT Pro TV, I wouldn't be where I was today because I only got this job on the back of the qualifications I have.
All right, welcome back to Technado with Don Pezet, and we're also joined by Cody Cornell today, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into the news now. First article we're hitting this week is on Ars Technica. Microsoft's sneaky plan to switch Chrome searches from Google to Bing. And so, Don, you were giving the whole marketing team the other day the backstory on this.
Right.
Why don't you fill us in again?
When I first saw the headline, I thought my timeline got screwed up again, and it was like the late 90s, and the EU lawsuit was going on.
And Grandma had 14 different search bars.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this is a very, very current article, and with some of the new updates that Microsoft is rolling out as part of Office 365, they have decided that some of their functionality, in order for it to work properly, requires you to use Bing. And so when you update Office 365, if it sees you're using a default search engine other than Bing, it will install a browser extension and change your default engine to Bing. And the reasoning on their side, which is somewhat ridiculous, is they're saying, your search results should be integrated into the Office 365 feed so it can suggest appropriate documents for you and help you keep track of your recent activity. But the reality is this is just another subtle dig to get people to use Bing. And I just assume we're all in agreement that Bing totally sucks. Would you guys?
Yeah, the whole time you've been talking, I've heard wah, 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 clippy, clippy,
All right, so
clippy.
I have
wah, wah,
probably.
wah. That's all I heard.
I would say at this point, because of what Google has done to the images search, that Bing Images is better
Yes, it is.
than Google Images at this point.
Yeah, because they do this weird thing where you can't actually grab the image.
Right.
Yeah,
You have to do
Okay.
like this
there's
weird...
no copyrights in Bing.
Yeah.
Because no one
Yeah.
checks there.
Plus the way that it's displayed, I just can't stand what they're doing. That whole sidebar instead of
Don, I'm going to say it.
it's horrible.
I'm a Bing user. Cashed in another $5 Amazon gift
Grab
card
your
yesterday.
stuff, Peter. Grab your stuff. Get out.
Well, wait a
I
minute.
use Google as well.
The last comment, though, he is effectively being paid to use Bing.
He uses Google to find Bing.
'Cause even DuckDuckGo has better search results than Bing. It's
Yeah.
just not. It's not an effective search engine.
All right, Cody, you're on the spot. What's your search engine of choice?
Opera.
As a strong Google user, definitely a go-to from a Chrome Google perspective. But because I use G Suite, the integration of the Office and the search for documents in a single spot, as opposed to having to do search in two different spots, I'm not going to back the decision because it's probably for marketing ads, but I can see some usability there. So that's kind of a cop-out. But I do use that feature within Google a lot. So maybe if I was an Office 365 guy, maybe I would use it.
I think the part where people are most up in arms is the fact that you could have already changed your default search engine and they're going to change it back. So this is another case of Microsoft, because they've done this repeatedly, where they undo your changes that you've made.
Am I getting a Yahoo toolbar with this also?
Lycos.
And
Ah,
McAfee.
yeah.
All
You're
of
going to
them
install
just stack-
McAfee.
Well, here's my question.
There's very little real estate for the page. It's just toolbars.
So,
Alta Vista.
so does this affect me on a Mac?
Yeah,
So
actually
how
it
does
does.
that work? Because
Because screw you. That's why.
well, they don't own the operating system here. They don't own
They
the
own
browser. So when I install an update to 365, I'm not going to get a notification that says, "Would you like to make this your?"
Even on a Mac, when you are updating Office, it asks for elevated privileges. You get that prompt to do the update. And when you do that, that effectively gives them the permission to do whatever the heck they want. And Chrome, most of its data, most of its configuration is stored in your user directory, and they can easily throw in that extension. The next time you launch it, it changes your browser.
So how's that
Your
stir
search
your
engine.
tea, Peter?
Hey, so I'll be changed from Bing to Bing. Oh no.
So Peter, the escalated privilege, that's where you type in your password without reading the prompt.
Oh yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. I was just making sure you knew.
So funny part, if you're already using Bing as your default engine, it just doesn't install the extension. So it like just skips that piece.
what you're gonna say?
Well, I'll tell you what.
It
Joke's on
downloads-
you.
It downloads Firefox.
The joke's on you because I don't install updates.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's why companies like Cody's have to exist, because of people like you.
Yeah, he's
I
like,
can't wait till
people.
somebody like hijacks this process and like creates malware for it.
Yeah.
Probably could.
Yeah. It's gonna be Cody. It's like, I'm not doing anything. What's wrong? Just click that link.
Cody, can you create an automated response that changes it back for everyone that's affected?
I mean, technically, yeah. I'm just waiting for the day that we stop using IE to set half of the settings on a Windows box. I'm really hoping that.
you know, I'm not sure I'm coming to work that day. Just so we're clear, I'm going to have like a celebratory drink, maybe a nice breakfast.
Well, actually, I'm glad he brought that up, because Cody, with Swimlane, you see a ton of organizations. Like, is the Windows 7 utilization really that high out there amongst government enterprise?
We don't see it a lot, in all honesty. So, I mean, I know it's out there. It's usually the thing that no one really is doing any sysadmin work. It just happens to run and hasn't died yet. But from an end user computing perspective, it's pretty rare from what we see.
All right. Well, our next story also deals with Windows, so let's find out if this is better. PCWorld.com says black wallpaper bug from Windows 7's final update will get fixed.
Oh, that's why
Subheadline.
finals in quotes.
Yep.
Yes, and their subheadline is Dead OS Walking. So we're
Windows
saying
7.
we had the last version of it, but now we're saying, hey, we still got to patch this because this is
Right. So last week, the last free update of Windows 7 came out, and Microsoft announced that that was it. End of support for Windows 7, that if you wanted updates, you had to be part of one of the enterprise or government contracts. You had to pay for continuing support, and so there'd be no more public patches. Well, unfortunately, in their last security update, somehow they managed to bork up displaying wallpapers, and they broke the stretch functionality. So if you had a background image that was stretched to fill your screen, all of a sudden it would become black. And that used to be a function of if you failed to validate your license key, right? If you weren't activated, you get a black screen.
That's why I just changed all my wallpapers to black.
You don't have to worry
I got
about
used to it, yeah.
Well, in this case, I mean, you could switch to like the fill option or center tiled, right? Yeah. All of those would work fine. It was if you had stretched that it would go black. And so this affected something so basic in the operating system that even Microsoft had to say, whoops, we'll go ahead and roll out another update. Because they didn't want you to uninstall the update because there were security patches in there. And so now they're going to have to push that out. So there'll be another update.
Software is a weird process. Because you'd be like, security updates. And we're going to mess up your wallpaper. Our bad.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's like, we changed this, it's connected.
Well, they know you're not going to install the security updates unless it fixes that wallpaper bug.
Well, I mean, that's supposed to be a fix in and of itself, right?
It's fixing something else. I'm sure it was some developer that thought they looked fat. Because like, this stretches out I don't like the way this looks on the widescreen. This black.
We're going to shut it down. Yeah, but it's strange. Things like these happen. You get some security patch for the IPv6 protocol stack, and all of a sudden, Notepad won't save anymore.
So so it's not like
if I had a nickel.
I thought you were going to say that. Oh, and that made them discover some glaring deficiency in Windows, where now people can do something and have access to your system. But this is just they're putting out a patch just to fix.
They discovered that a long time ago.
Yeah, well, Microsoft is done discovering, right? They're letting other people discover in Windows 7.
Isn't that the point of ending support?
Yeah.
So why are they doing this?
Why are you asking so many questions?
So they're continuing to sell support to, I know the Navy is on board. Several other organizations are on board with paying for
So they're already
support.
making the fix.
Right. So they might as well distribute that one as like a goodwill effort, I suppose, something. But they really want you to just go to Windows 10 where wallpaper works great.
A goodwill effort to the people that aren't using their new stuff, that don't listen.
That's basically it.
That's nice. That's a good feature. All right. Are you still on Windows 7, Cody?
Yeah, I run it every day on my mobile device, my Razr.
On your Razr.
That thing is solid.
I thought he was going to say in a VM on my Windows XP machine.
Yeah.
He's like, I love it. I don't connect it to the internet. XP's got all the security for me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, air gap it and you're set.
Yeah.
All right.
That's funny. That's like a government thing. It totally happened.
Yeah. It's sitting in a room somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shift over now to our next article. We're back over at TheVerge.com. Apple's iPad changed the tablet game 10 years ago.
It raises the dead.
Is it today or
actually, it would have been 10 years ago yesterday.
It's the digital Necromicon.
He actually took over large parts of like Southern Europe with it.
I'm going to make a prediction here that Don bought an iPad that day.
I didn't. No, in fact,
I was gifted to you.
I was given one. Yes,
it was a boss's gift from his
He was
partner.
like Steve Jobs.
Sir, you've been so good to me.
All of us in the kitchen got together.
Yeah. Did you get one? Were you there?
No, I wasn't there at that time.
Daniel and I worked together at a company years ago, and yeah, that was they gave us iPads.
I thought you were going to say Jobs walked off stage and handed me the one he was showing because I was there.
Yeah.
It was weird that he said, "My liege."
So, what'd you think? Were you I mean, I was one of the skeptics at first, and I'll admit that I was very much wrong.
So I had zero intention of getting one. Right? They were, I don't remember, $1,000 I think when they first came
out.
Were they that much? They were a lot, and it was an unproven technology. It had no keyboard. And I hate touch keyboards, so there's all these negatives to it. I had no intention to buy it, but
no multitask.
Yeah. But I was given one.
Break your nose.
And I'll tell you, we used to jokingly call it the living room laptop. So there's cheap old laptop that stayed in the living room from when we needed to solve an argument on the internet, and the iPad immediately replaced that. But just the convenience of touch, that's really what sold touchscreens to me. Laptops that had touchscreens up to that point were just kind of a joke. Even Wacom tablets were great for artists, but they weren't great for end users. And the iPad really brought that home. But also the fact that it was a a walled garden that was fairly secure. I mean, there were a lot of jailbreaks in the early days, but you could give one to a family member or a coworker and know that it was pretty safe. You started seeing iPads pop up in building lobbies because they knew they could use it for a check-in system, and it was relatively more secure. So there were a lot of positives to it, and it's continued to evolve. And I think it's probably fair to say even today that the iPad's really the only successful tablet, right? Are any of the other tablets, like the Samsung ones, are terrible?
Do we count the Surface as a tablet?
I don't. I mean,
In
it's
its current
basically a
iteration, I don't
laptop.
think so. Yeah.
I will say
Fire.
I had a Google Nexus
Fire. Yeah.
for a
they
while.
did
I
all right.
liked it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was as successful because they like bounced it.
They're still
but
making fires though, right?
yeah,
Like
Yeah, the
Amazon?
the Kindles, which are designed to be budget tablets. You
Yeah.
get one for under $200.
You get one for your kid.
Yeah, you do.
I'm not going to give you the iPad.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a perfect market for them. But
Yeah.
aside from that, I know I used to have an Asus transformer where it had the keyboard and you could pop it off. And
I
so,
remember you. had that,
yeah, I loved that thing. It was great, but they just weren't getting the sales. I'm not even sure if Asus makes a tablet right now.
So what is this now? Is this the current iteration of the iPad
Best
or
you got on the
one
table.
ago?
No, there's one that came out after this, so mine's
Ronnie
2 years
just
old.
got a brand new one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty.
they're way lighter than they used to be.
Is
Oh,
this one
yeah.
better? You like this one better?
Yeah. For a little while, I went to the Pro, the 12.9 inch, the really big one.
Oh yeah, this is not that.
And yeah, I did go back to the slide because now they go almost edge to edge with the screens. It's really impressive. So
Well, this iPad here might be that first one. It's got the 30-pin connector on the back.
I
This
will tell you.
is the one that runs
if they
our sound
slide off your
effects.
headboard and hit you across the bridge of the nose,
You're
they
done.
will bust your face open.
Yeah, you are done.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
That's from a friend.
Yeah.
It happened to me. I'm
the
just
the
gonna
first generation was actually a little bit thicker than that
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah.
And it's surprising if you go back, like Ronnie still has his first generation one, how heavy it was.
Yeah.
I was just
Well, he's going
thinking-
to take that on Antique
I'm
Roadshow.
just seeing Justin like hammered drunk playing Candy Crush. It was like, it's 3 a.m. I better put it away.
So it slid down. It slid down off a notebook I had up there. It caught me across the bridge of the nose, and this was like 2:00 in the morning. And I sat straight up, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I just start pouring blood into my hands, and I'm like, "I need help!
Not
I
again.
need help!" It's like somebody took the back part of a sword and smacked me across the nose with it. And then I had to go to work the next day, and I was a school teacher at the
I
time.
can explain that.
Yeah.
I was, at a fight club last night.
I
I
fell
make
down
up a
the
different
stairs.
story every time. So I'm like, "What happened to you?" Be like, "I don't know. This guy was staring at me at the bar last night, so I hit him." And then he wailed on me pretty good with the back
Somebody
part of a
didn't
sword.
turn in their math homework.
yeah.
You should see him. Hey, so Cody, I'm curious. I'm guessing based on your last answer that you had one of the Google tablets instead.
Actually, no. I've been a big fan of the iPad. I don't think anybody's done content consumption for people who travel a lot better than the iPad. It's just on the plane, on the move, all the apps. It's unparalleled. I'm a total fanboy of the iPad.
Yeah, and I know Don, you don't even take a laptop when you travel these days, right? You're taking the iPad
Right,
with
yeah,
the keyboard.
I stopped years ago, and one of the main reasons for that was that I knew that the iPad was encrypted. And it's basically it used to have this, the fingerprint scanner, now the facial scan. So it was a pretty secure device as far as if somebody stole it, I really wasn't worried about it. Versus if they stole my laptop, that encryption's a lot harder on a laptop, and you worry a little bit more about that. And the cost of a laptop is higher. So
Well, speaking of having your data breached, let's head over to our next article at Vice.com with a really nice visual there. Leaked documents exposed the secretive market for your web browsing data. And a vast antivirus subsidiary sells, quote, every search, every click, every buy on every site. Its clients have included Home Depot, Google, Microsoft, Pepsi, and McKinsey. So what's going on here? All the browsing data from the past is...
How is it secretive? I just kind of
That's the first thing I thought.
all right, so the way this one went down is Avast, if you've not heard of it, is a free antivirus suite. And you used to hear people say this all the time, like, oh, you don't have antivirus? Just install Avast, it's free.
Yeah.
Right? Well, nothing in this world is free. And Daniel and I were talking about it earlier. The saying is, if you didn't pay for it, then you are the product. And so people knew Avast was making money somehow, right? And what happened is they had a secondary, subsidiary company whose name I have forgotten now.
Do we cheat them and how?
And the ultimate student.
click and clack.
So they had a subsidiary company, and what they would do is they would collect
A jump shot.
Jump shot.
Jump
That's
shot.
it. They would collect all of your information, and then they would anonymize it, and I'm air quoting that, because you can't really anonymize URLs. They tell you they do, but they really can't. They would anonymize it, And then they would turn around and sell it to companies that needed demographic data and all sorts of other stuff, all sorts of marketing telemetry, right? Well, if you think about it, like most web browsers are leaking your data. We know Google Chrome, Google collects everything. And we did that interview just a few months ago with the CSO of Brave, right? The Brave browser that's all designed to help protect privacy. But if it's your antivirus software, it doesn't matter what browser you use. It doesn't matter if you drop to an incognito window or private mode or whatever your browser has.
Wait, it doesn't?
It doesn't matter because most antivirus software is proxying your web connection one way or another. And if they aren't, then they're usually using a browser extension of some sort because all of them offer safe search or we'll check your URL to make sure you're not going to a malicious site. Well, that means they have to see your URL and they see everything. And they see the applications that you run. Antivirus has more access to your system than any other software, really, after the kernel, because it's hooked in at a really low layer. So they were collecting all of that data and then turning around and selling it. Now, we hear about stuff like this, and what made this article stand out for me was that there were documents that leaked from Avast that actually had the amount companies were paying for this data.
Ooh.
We don't normally know that, right? We hear they're selling it, but how much money do they make? Now, they have a customer list that included, I mean, you rattled off, what, 5 companies? Home Depot, Google, so that's 5. I think there's another 5 or 6 companies listed throughout the article, a ton of different organizations. But they found paperwork from one company in particular, this is like way down at the bottom of the article.
Yeah, this is a very in-depth article. So we'll definitely post the URL for this in the YouTube description.
So they found
they know.
Documentation for one organization that had paid, first off, to get connected to their program with all of this data. It was something like a hair over $2 million. And then they paid again 2 other years in a row.
The fee for data in 2020 and then 2021 is listed as 2.225 and then 2.275.
Yeah, and so that's for this this
that's
service.
From Omnicom.
They had the Insight feed and the All Clicks feed. All Clicks feed. I mean, this isn't even discovered. Like,
did you say OCP?
What you're telling me is that if I'm a virus writer out there, I'm gonna quit ransomware right now and just start collecting user information, clicks, URLs, and sell a net.
So there's at least 8 companies mentioned in this article, but really, I mean, they go on to mention that there had to be others, right? Assuming they were all paying $2 million a year for access to this feed, that's over $16 million for a free antivirus product. Now you can see why it's free, and you can see how you get monetized as a person. And they said, well, users could opt out. But users didn't even know what was happening in the first place, so they didn't know to opt out. Avast has come out and said, we've stopped doing that. We're not doing that anymore. We promise.
Yeah, right.
We're not doing it like that anymore.
And so
we
that's
moved
where
that checkbox that was hidden on that page where you could opt out to a different page that's still hidden.
Hey, Cody, what percentage of Swimlane sales are from selling the government's data? Oh, he got really quiet.
About 0.0%.
There we go.
I was like,
just a hair
this is where we got to take a cut.
I know he was just turning the mic back on, but that long silence.
I was like, oh man, Peter, we are definitely getting swatted later today.
He's like, I got to pull up our quarterly earnings report. Up 0%.
Yeah, the connection's bad over here. I gotta.
Now, I mean, this is basically like data exfiltration, and with Swimlane, you're monitoring logs, alerts, things like that. Would you have a mechanism for being able to detect when information like this is being sent out from a company?
And in our case, no. Our software is deployable software, so it's running inside of their environment or their cloud environment. So their VPC, if they're an AWS shop or something similar. So no, that's all internal to them. If we gathered, any type of telemetry data, it would be: is the product running? Are the playbooks executing? Are the integrations still functioning? We would never want to have payload data.
All right. So in this scenario, like the users don't know it's being collected. On the network side, it's incredibly difficult for us to even see the data is being collected. So we just have to have an awareness in general, which we generally don't. Like we don't know what these companies do with our data. And Avast is the one that's in the spotlight right now. But in theory, any of the antivirus providers could be doing this. So it just goes to show how important it is that we vet any software that's deployed in our environment.
And how much worse would it be if you're paying for your antivirus and they're still then turning around and making money on both ends? So.
And this is not new. I mean, some of you guys are probably old enough. Do you guys remember Bonsai Buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The little purple monkey people would install on their desktop, and you would think
next to Weatherbug
and Tiny Elvis.
Weatherbug also.
Right.
Daniel and I used to work at an insurance company, and we would have people running WeatherBug, and I would have to go and remove it and tell them, like, look, this thing is leaking your data. We cannot have you running this application. And people would get mad.
20 minutes later, it's right back on the system. Yeah.
We ended up having to do
What was the
network policies.
wallpaper software they love so much?
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
Oh,
it was a different wallpaper every day.
Yeah.
That was important to them.
Yeah, it's
And-
crazy. I mean, they were nice wallpapers. Don't get me wrong.
Well, speaking of someone who probably installed that on what were you going to say, Tiny
I was
Elvis?
going to say, you brought up the Elvis thing. And I
Remember
was
Tiny Elvis?
He was like the bonsai buddy.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I tried to remove him, and I didn't know how to turn him off, so I just deleted the little icon.
icon.
But now you just be on my computer randomly, you hear
It's still there. Oh, man.
oh no, mom's gonna kill me.
Look at that window,
Sides-
man. That sucker's huge.
Side story: I had changed all the system sounds on my Windows 95 system back in the day to Eric Cartman. Right, and anytime my cousin was trying to do a typing tutor, and every time you got something wrong, you got a system error, and it was Cartman just screaming at you. She's like, "Make this thing shut up!" I was dying.
Well, the same thing happened to Jeff Bezos the other day. Let's look at our next article here from UPI. UN urges probe over report Saudi prince hacked Jeff Bezos' phone. So I don't think we're going to get into the politics of who done it, but more the how done it. So it looks like it was WhatsApp, and he allegedly was sent a video from the Saudi prince, which that's just a weird sentence to say. And then clicking on that was able to actually
You
put
don't
a
get
virus on his
videos
phone?
from the Saudi prince?
Is it? I don't. Not on that phone.
So-
is this the Amazon Fire phone?
No, it isn't
Okay.
actually. So, so
the
this
new
was
Razr.
This was 2018. The Fire phone had failed well in advance of that. There are so many levels to this article. It's confusing. Why would a Saudi prince be emailing Jeff Bezos? We have to remember that Jeff Bezos and Amazon bought the Washington Post, so a media outlet, and there has been some negative press for the Saudis after the alleged murder.
He was a
of
Washington Post reporter. Yeah.
Right, and so
Jamal Khashoggi?
so yes, so it looks like there have been some targeted attacks at Jeff Bezos, and this one was pretty advanced. It was a video that he received via WhatsApp, and when you play the video, it actually had a malware payload embedded in it that was incredibly sophisticated. Just watching the video was enough to infect the phone, and what they were able to show was that on a normal day, he had egress traffic from his phone that was about 400 to 500K kilobits. I think it was kilobits, not kilobytes. Well, either way, it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
Of data that was coming out of that phone. And then after that date, after playing the video, it was always over 100 megabytes of data moving out of that phone per day, which is an incredible amount of data. You don't normally have that much on your phone.
You don't think he was just sharing the video with his friends then because it was
Well,
so good?
Certainly could be. Well, I don't know if we want to branch into that. Some of the photos that he's texted, but
Well, we see all those now because that's how, I mean, this led to the end of his marriage, right? Did that come out from this? Because I know
Really?
no, that was different, right? Because it wasn't that his girlfriend sent some pictures to her brother, and her brother sold them
that
to
what-
TMZ.
no,
I think
that's
that's a
right.
little different.
All I heard was a bunch of people have money.
again,
This guy, I mean, he got divorced. He lost half his fortune, and he was still like the number
Yeah, he's like
5
number
richest
2.
person in the world. I think he'll be all right. But
yeah, he's going to do okay.
But the bigger implication here, though, is that from just emailing you a link or texting you a link, sending you a picture, you could potentially have a device get compromised and have no visual confirmation that that's occurred. And so unless you're monitoring your egress traffic, which normal people don't do, you don't even know this has happened. So you could be compromised for weeks, months, years, and have no idea.
Well, I really go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, maybe that Ted Kaczynski guy was
Onto something.
Maybe we should just go out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I like to think that Steve Jobs planned for this. If you just buy a new phone every year,
Yeah.
then it's like you clean your viruses.
You're set. So I need to see a timeline on this whole thing because I'm assuming that they wanted to hack him after the negative reporting about Saudi Arabia. So and it was very quick that people realized the links to the killing of Jamal Khashoggi and the Saudi Arabian. So are we saying that he got an attachment from someone who he believes killed his employee and said, "Oh, let's watch this video. This should be fun."
Well, so he got a message. Now, at this stage, I don't know if it was public knowledge that this had happened, and even today, at this very moment, it's still allegedly, right? Like,
Sure.
you know, and they've paid out money and things like that. But there's a lot of odd activity centering around it. And there were a few other stories all kind of rotating around this. There was supposedly the malware that was used was created by a company called NSO that's based out of Israel. And
That's the company that Bezos hired to.
No, this is a company that writes phone spying software.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And they sell it to governments and organizations
other
around
side.
the world.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, a long time ago, you would see applications running on your phone that were designed so that AT&T could check your phone to make sure it was working okay, which is the same thing as saying that AT&T could then look at anything on your phone. So NSO figured out a way to exploit that. And then they started selling that to other governments, and including ours, including the U.S. We buy this stuff too, so it's not like we're innocent in this. But some governments then take that and use it to oppress people that are in opposition parties and things.
Sure.
So NSO has a rather speckled history, you know, with a lot of weird stuff in the background like that. And so in this case, it looks like it was their software that was sold. And so they've done where they've analyzed the phone and the traffic, and I'm trying to pull it up. The Vice.com had a better write-up on it because they had the actual bandwidth and stuff that was being transmitted out. And you can kind of get a handle on that time frame. But, you know, if you start receiving a text and the text is a link, and then you get it again and again and again, most people eventually will tap on the link like, I just want to see what it is, and I'm on my phone. Phone won't get infected. I won't open this on my desktop. That's crazy. Let me try it on the phone. And you open it, and now your phone's compromised, but you don't know it. So that's the way it is.
I had no idea that you could get a virus just for. I know that, like, if you downloaded a video or, you know, an exe or something at your computer that you could. I didn't know just playing a video.
Yeah, in this case, the link was turned over to Apple, and Apple so it was an iPhone. That's right, because they mentioned that, you know, Apple patched this right away. They put an emergency update out for it. But
so that route wouldn't happen anymore. That
Right.
specific.
But the bad guys, they figure this stuff out and they don't tell Apple, right? They get out and they use the hell out of it until they can't use it anymore.
I was listening to Darknet Diaries the other day, and they were talking about Project Raven or something to that effect, and it was UAE, United Emirates, and they have this group. And this lady that used to work for the CIA was working for them, and she discovered 3.0 days for iPhones, and they were hammering,
Cranking them out.
Yeah, they're like, just because you think you have an iPhone, think you're safe, you better get real.
I'll tell you what. Done are the days where I just open videos from Saudi princes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Unless I'm on my submarine.
that's right.
Yeah, sure. I can't get you there. It's
International
all
waters.
Well, he's trying to make an order.
Yeah, bro, I got you.
Hey, well-
I know.
Cody, I want to thank you for taking the time today and giving us some insight into some things there. What's coming up for you guys right now at Swimlane?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's head down. We're headed to RSA coming up in February, so we're pretty excited to be out there for that. We'll see a lot of our partners and customers and things like that. So if you're out there, you know, look us up, and it'd be good to get together.
Yeah, it's the first year in a while that I don't think we're going to have a presence there, but I'm sure. Do you guys have a booth, or you're attending sessions and meeting vendors and things?
Yeah, we'll be in and around RSA. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, we won't have a booth this year.
Fantastic. But if people want to learn more about Swimlane, what's the best way to do that?
Easiest way is obviously swimlane.com, or reach out to somebody on LinkedIn. People are pretty responsive that way as well.
Hey, you say obvious, but, you know, these days with domain extensions, you know, head over to swimlane.clown and, you know, you'll find us. So thank you for clarifying.
Should we go buy that right now?
Check out our Discord server.
Uh-oh. Is he like frantically trying to make the order?
Yeah. He's calling someone right now.
GoDaddy.
Hey, speaking of which, can we talk about our new domain?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't know if you've forwarded it yet.
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, man.
I'm on the ball.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, our website, Technado.com, which is internationally known
Sure,
and
of course.
dominating the SEO charts for technical podcasts, we decided it's just too much to type.
It's a lot of
Technado.com.
typing.
So we now have a new domain, which is techne.do. And you know, thanks to our brothers in the Dominican Republic, we're able to offer that and save you really typing 3 characters. And just the environmental impact alone, I think we've really done our part.
And the GDP of the Dominican Republic just tripled, I think, with that purchase.
Do we get carbon offset credits for that?
We should.
Was that accomplice salt to the
should.
Dominican Republic?
It was. Yeah.
But it is just set to forward, but it's fun. Techne.do, I think it's awesome.
Take that, Dominican
Not dough.
Republic. Technado. Yeah.
Technado.
So that is redirected now, and we'll update some links here that we mentioned in a second. But I'm going to let you know about a couple things coming up. First of all, we've got. What do you got?
I was just going to start hitting buttons.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
Coming up over at itpro.tv/webinars, you can see the next webinar from IT Pro TV is Reimagined Performance Monitor. We changed the title after last week when I said Reimagined Perfmon and didn't understand what that meant. Apparently it was wrong as well. So
we all know what perfmon.
That is Thursday, February 13th. So if you're looking for something to do for Valentine's, with your loved one, definitely Performance Monitor webinar on the day before. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Mike Roderick and Anthony Sequeira. That's the update you've been waiting for. So that's just a Windows thing, right? Perfmon?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. And then while you're on the internet, head over to go.itpro.tv/Technado, which soon will be Technado /something. We'll get that all worked out. IT Pro TV, you can find out all about it there. You can get a 30% off code for when you sign up for your personal account. You can also find out about the business options available for teams, including the Pro Portal and all that good stuff. Head over to go.itpro.tv/Technado. All right, well, thank you, everyone, today. Thank you, especially Cody, for joining us all the way from sunny Colorado.
All right. No, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, gentlemen.
All right. Any final thoughts from you guys?
So did we change lives like you promised?
I think we did, but let us know in the comments if your life was changed.
And you know how you can always be ready to get your life changed more? Subscribe.
Oh, subscribe on IT Pro TV or to the thing.
I like how that didn't cross his mind at
Yes.
all.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, I didn't. No one makes it.
What
this
are
far
you
in the
here
video.
for?
Vegan?
I don't have that written down like the other part.
Bro,
I'm gonna
it
write
is
paper
on the
straws.
last page. It is the last
it says it right here.
flipping
No, it says it right here.
comment. Right there.
Remember, subscribe, send your questions for our listener mail segment. You can do that at Twitter at ITProTV using hashtag Technado questions. You know, if you just send it to at ITProTV, we'll find it anyway.
Hey, it's Peter.
One way or another.
So that's going to do it for us, but we'll see you next week right here on Technado with Don Pizzette.